Welcome everyone. Glad you could make it. Happy to see so many people here. Starting to feel like old times. And we need people here. We need to infuse this new space with our energy. It really does feel different when there's more bodies in here and practicing together. Earlier this week, we focused on sifting and how when we're sifting something, it's shaking off the excesses and leaving what's important or a value or something that's nourishing or something that's useful. And we talked about how yoga and meditation helps us to sift through the things physically and mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Today, I'm kind of switching gears. I wanted to focus on pyramids. Pyramids are something that show up all over the world. We often think about the pyramids in Egypt, of course, but there's pyramids down in South America and in Mexico. There are pyramids that have been found in Japan. There are pyramids in Antarctica. And there are pyramids that have been found under the ocean. And that's just a few. I think I just heard there was one off the coast of Spain and Portugal as well. But, you know, they have this mystique about them. You know, we're uncertain how these ancient civilizations were able to even get the material that they created these structures with, are not even in the proximity of where they're located. And it was before the wheel was even invented. But there's some little clues if you look at the engravings in the Mayans that the Mayans left behind, and if you look at the hieroglyphics that the Egyptians left behind, it shows that they had other types of technology we didn't have. And so that too is a mystery. What happened to that technology? Like, why is it missing from today's civilization? Why can we not construct something like that even today with all of our advances? How were they connected across the globe if there weren't airplanes and boats? You know, it's pretty amazing to consider. So we have a pyramid pose in yoga. Now it's called Parsvottanasana, which actually means intense side stretch. So when we get to this pose, it's really about stretching the outside of the legs and the back of the legs. It stretches the outer hips. It also helps us to extend the spine. And we'll be doing a variation that is also going to open up the chest and the shoulders. When we're moving into these pyramid poses, I want you to consider that, even to bring it back to the earlier theme that we had this week, I heard recently that the pyramids in Egypt actually were colored with this embellishment that made it shimmer and shine in the sun. And they said it would look like a skyscraper building from a distance if it were here today. Come on in, Nancy. And there was an earthquake that happened, and the earthquake made all that fall away. It sifted, you know, off the surface and away to reveal what was underneath. And if you look at the insides of the pyramid, they have chambers with water. They have chambers with these gases. They're trying to figure out, why is this certain gas entombed in this chamber? There's even one that has an underground tunnel that moves 50 miles to another. They still haven't found the end of the location yet. It's like, it's kind of mind-blowing in a way. So I wanted to see, are there any pyramids in India? Because why do we have this, well, we call it pyramid pose, but what it really translates to is intense side stretch pose. And there are pyramid structures in India, but they've been built in more, well, I'll say modern time, but not as ancient as the ancient pyramids. And they're more temples. They're made out of granite. They're very ornate. And what's really interesting is, in the upper corners, it's like little flying saucers. So I read a whole article about that. I'm going to save that for another day. I learned some new things about the Vedas that blew my mind. In the Veda, well, I'll just say that for another day. Here, I want to talk about it now. So we're going to be a little active, and then we're going to get passive. Nancy, if you want to set up over here, grab 2 blocks, and I'll grab you a bolster. I want you to start in crocodile pose, passive crocodile pose. Does anybody know that one? Can you be a model for me? Oh, I'm glad you're here. That's it, passive crocodile. Donna's starting to get into it. You're in a prone posture. Your feet are separated away from each other. Your arms are crossed so that you can prop up your chest. And then you'll lower your head down. So allow that whistle that's coming through the glass today to remind you of the wind of your breath. And start to breathe in a more conscious way. As you're taking deep, slow, rhythmic breaths, feel the belly swelling as you breathe in and relaxing as you breathe out. Continue this conscious breath work, because this conscious breath work allows us to do some of that internal sifting. Right, letting go of the excess thoughts rambling in the mind, but also releasing away any excess tension that you might be holding in your body. Sometimes just being outside when it's cold can tense the muscles. And now that you're in a warm environment, that can be released. We're going to be doing a couple of meditations when we're lounging in our restorative positions today. For now, I want you to breathe not only to your belly, but I want you to breathe up into your heart. Just as in the pyramids where there's all these different hidden chambers, there's even some that have hidden treasures because they thought they were able to take this with them into the afterlife. Now we know that we can't take any material goods with us, but we often forget that there's a treasure of things that can be found in our own metaphysical and spiritual heart. Dormant desires, latent gifts, hidden talents, a bountiful amount of love and light, compassion and forgiveness. Look at this as being like hidden jewels and gems. And that's what we're seeking to find. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and line up the legs side by side, lengthening thighs, lengthening shins, lengthening the toes. Pick the head up off the ground. Walk your elbows in underneath your shoulders. Set up your arms so that you're coming into the Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, your legs are lengthening to the degree that your knees are off the ground. The pubic bone is part of the foundation, so bury the pubic bone into the floor so you feel the tailbone tucking, the glutes firming. As you're rooting the elbows, pick up the sternum. Pick up the crown of the head so you're elongating your neck, but then find that right angle of the neck and then set your gaze at one spot, as though the eyes were frozen like the Sphinx. Affirming here as we tone the lower body, as we strengthen the back. I rise up joyfully to greet each and every new opportunity. Well, we're going to lace the hands together at this point. We're gonna curl the toes under and we're gonna engage our quads, engage our core, engage our deltoids, engage our triceps to hold the body up. Now track the feet closer to the face, just a step or two. Get the head off the floor. Push back away from your hands, coming into what's called dolphin, a pose that can mimic the shape of a pyramid. Your seat is held up high. Your head is lowered in between the upper arm bones, and your breath stays nice and full. As you exhale, land down to your knees. Keep your toes curled under. Stretch your arms out, hand shoulder distance apart, and gently lower your head. Let your shoulders roll away from the ears. Take 3 deep breaths here. On your next inhale, gently roll forward, shoulders backing over the elbows, untucking the toes, flattening the top portions of the feet, making sure there's space between the knees and the elbows so you're not too scrunched up in the middle, because we're going to dive down with the belly and we're going to elevate our seat and our crown. Exhale, drop the tailbone, scoop into the belly, bow your head. Good, continue, inhale, like a cow tilt. Exhale, similar to a cat stretch. Building that flexibility in your spine, doing it once more. Notice how we're not just bringing flexibility to the spine, but we're strengthening the upper arms and shoulders. All right, now we're going to stack onto the palms of the hands, building up to the stilts of the arms. The toes will curl and we'll push back to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog being yet another pose that mimics the shape of a pyramid. Now for today, let the base, your hands and feet, represent mind and body. Let your sits bones moving upward represent your soul or spirit. The 3 main aspects of our being. Let your breath be the expression and the sound of your soul. Continue to breathe into your heart space, which is said to be the home of the soul. On your next inhalation, gently begin to walk and travel the feet forward to the top of the mat. You're going to root your feet down, line up your legs, hinge from your hips, draping your head, and maybe even nodding your head to help to unravel tension through the neck. Now moving into a deeper stretch for the lower body to prepare us for our pyramid poses. Notice where your weight really wants to land. For some of us, it may be the outer edges of the feet. For some of us, the inner edges of the feet. For some of us, in the heels. For some of us, more in the balls of the feet. See if you can evenly distribute it. On your next inhale, let's sweep the arms to our sides and up overhead. Come to upward worship as though we're creating this steeple or a peak over the architecture of the body. And then exhale, bring hands down to heart center. All right, this is where you may want to go ahead and establish some blocks beside your feet, because we're going to start stepping back and working towards eventually creating pyramid. So hands to prayer. Inhale, let's circle the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands down the midline, humbly bow again to Uttanasana, determining if your legs want to be straight or knees slightly bent. Now on your next in-breath, we're going to step the left foot way, way back, meaning we're moving more into this lunge. When you bend the front knee, try not to track it past your ankle. So if it's going past your ankle, just move the foot a little bit more forward. Lift your back thigh and push it away from your center. All right, you're going to determine from here what height you want your blocks to be as we begin to straighten out the front leg. So it may be that once you start to straighten it out, you may need to turn them up a level. You may decide you want them to the lowest level or not at all. From this pose, which is standing Hanumanasana, I want you to roll your left hip more towards the front of the room and drive your right hip towards the back of the room. And as you drive the right hip back, if the big toe wants to lift off the floor, burrow it back down into your sticky mat. Now keep your head up, keep your neck in line with your spine. This is going to be our inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to lunge the knee. All right, we're going to move back and forth as we breathe. Inhale, power down through the right foot, re-straighten in structure. Good, exhale, lunge the knee. Good again. This time when we straighten out the front leg, we're going to slowly open the right arm out to the right side. Coming into a revolving twist. Notice, well, Susan can't notice, but you'll be able to notice the other way. Come to your fingertips, Susan, on that left hand and see if you can straighten that front leg a little bit more. This way? Yes, straighten the front leg and maybe come more to the fingertips if the palm is too much. Yeah, because now you're the model at the front of the room. Beautiful, okay? So see her shape? I want you to look, it's similar to a triangle, similar to a pyramid, right? That's what we're trying to mimic here. Good, exhale, bring the right hand down, lunge the front knee. Now we're gonna hop the back foot forward and down, okay? Now stack onto the fingertips or palms to lengthen out through the vertebrae. And notice if your right hip is in the lead of your left. I want you to externally rotate your right thigh, but internally rotate your left thigh and hip. That was great, Betsy. I just happened to be looking at you. Your sacrum's more even. Your shoulders should feel more even. Now we're moving towards pyramid. All right, as we exhale, you can slowly drape down over the front leg. The eyes can be open or closed. If the eyes are open, gaze at one spot. If you're closing the lids of the eyes, do the inner investigative work. Maybe look for some of those hidden treasures. Focus on a smoother, longer out breath. Inhale, slowly relift the vertebrae, standing long through the spine. Now, as you exhale, slightly turn your left toes, not to a great degree, just a slight degree, that's great. All right, right hand's gonna transfer to your shin below your knee. Your left arm's gonna hang down. As you inhale, really grip your feet into the floor because this is gonna play with your balance. Open to triangle pose to your left. Beautiful. Now, notice these ladies at the front of the room. Again, look at the shape. The left hand being the peak of the pose and the feet being the base. Good. Now, let's exhale, lower the left hand. Inhale, we're sailing it right back up. Exhale, we're bringing it right back down. And on this one, we're gonna hold at the top. Inhale, open back up into that triangle pose. Affirming here, energy and joy flow down to me. As you exhale, bring the hands down. And now we're going to hop or turn the left toes a little bit more forward. We need the foot to be more open in order to really gain access to triangle. Because in triangle, the hips have asymmetry. In pyramid, they're more square. All right, take your hands to your hips and slowly rise up. Okay, when you rise up, stack onto the legs and feet. Push your left thigh bone back a little bit. Your hands on your hips can give you that information on whether or not they're even with each other. Once they're even, you're going to take your left arm behind your back and your right arm below that. Now we're going to bring the stretch up into the chest and shoulders. Now this is going to challenge our lower body. If you want to open the heart and throat a little bit, you can lean back. As we exhale, we're slightly taking the left rib cage and navel and angling it over the front leg. We're folding and diving to our degree of flexibility. Stay with the breath of life. Halfway up. Release the hands to the blocks. Wiggle the left toes back, so you're coming into that lunge that started the whole sequence. All right, when you're ready, step the back foot forward. Fold it down again to your Uttanasana. And hopefully you're noticing the difference between the two legs here. They feel a lot longer through the right side. We're more established and connected to that right side. On your next inhalation, bring it all the way up to the top. Gather up what you need, create this steeple-like structure. We'll be at the top of the pyramid. And then exhale, bring it right back down. Once you fold over, we're going to take this to the other side. Inhale, right foot steps back. And again, determine what height you want the box to be. Have the front shin perpendicular to the floor. Back thigh plugs up towards the sky. Now slowly straighten out the front leg. You can cater the blocks to fit your needs. Drive the left hip towards the back wall and drive your right hip towards the front wall. Should be just that little pivot that makes all the difference. From standing Hanumanasana, we're going to start to flow with our breath. This will be the inhale, so go ahead and breathe in here. Exhale, lunge the knee. Continue that process. Move that big toe down. You may want to wiggle off the floor. Now establish yourself back in standing Hanumanasana. We'll take the left arm to that revolving twist. Feel that IT band. Exhale, bring that head down to the floor. When you're ready, you're going to hop the back foot slightly forward in order to ground the back foot completely. Now, external rotation with the front thigh. internal rotation with your backside. Even just the stepping down of the foot can alter the hips. Once we level it all out, exhale, fold even deeper if that's available. Feel free to move the blocks out of the way. Inhale, we'll back away so that we can extend the spine. We'll slightly turn that right foot, preparing for triangle pose. Transfer the left hand to the shin. Let your right arm hang free. Grip your feet into the sticky mat for stability and sweep the right arm. You got a cramp, Pat?
Something, yeah. Don't want to go.
Take your time. Feet being the mind and the body, the top hand being the soul or spirit. Exhale, bring the right hand down. Twice more. Inhale, sail it back up. Good. Exhale, carry it. Inhale back to the top, this time affirming energy and joy are flowing down to me. Right now, when we exit that pose, we slightly turn the foot or hop the foot back in. Hands to the hips as we rise up to the top. Okay, that will give us the information, right? Because when we come up, that left hip may be in the lead. And we need to bring the right hip around. All right, right arm behind the back and the left arm below that. So you can always choose another position, hands to the hips or hands namaste behind the back. If you want to lean back slightly, push that right thigh bone back, angle the right ribs and navel over slightly to the left as you come back into this forward fold. Your body is the vehicle that holds all the vital life force. Breath is the portal. Inhale, come halfway up. Let's release the hands down. Let's bend the front knee. Let's wiggle the right toes back. Let's lose the blocks and plant the hands. Step it into plank. Exhale, back it up to downward facing dog. This pose is very beneficial for the body, very calming for the mind, very refreshing for the face. A nice stimulant for the third eye. Then as you exhale, let's descend to the knees. We're going to move on down to the abdomen. And Nancy, if this is turning your forearm, you can do cobra instead. So we're going to ground the forearms, lean through the legs, tighten through the buttocks, lean back to our stomachs. We're like the guardian of the pyramids. We know that they served as tombs, but it served as so much more. We're seeing that they're aligned with certain stars or planets, dependent upon their location. Some say they're even portals themselves. As you exhale, slide your hands underneath, come down to the brow. Inhale, push up
Exhale to regular extended child's. Earlier we had the toes tucked. Now stay on the top portions of your feet. Don't let your elbows slip down to the ground. Let your shoulders relax. Let your fingers slightly curl in. Okay, so where you're feeling the pressure at your brow is the third eye. And so take your hand and just touch the very top back side of your head. This is going to come into play later. Just feel that point there. It's almost opposite of the third eye. Okay, in one of our meditations, we're going to be imagining this point at the back of the head, the point at the brow, and then the heart. All right, let's slowly begin to build up. We're going to create Stonehenge with 2 blocks. We're going to bolster on top. But we're not going to do Stonehenge on our backs unless you need it. We're going to cater again to the lower body. We used to do this with our yoga chairs. This is going to be our yoga chair today. So the right heel is going to close in towards the pubic bone, and the left leg will be away to the side. And then if you need it to be closer, if your hamstrings are tighter, you can be here. If you want a little deeper stretch, you push it away, and then you can come down like this, or into prayer hands like this. The yogi's choice. So make sure that you're not creating so much sensation that you can't stay here for a little bit. So if it's hard for you to breathe, back up. So this is working more of the inseam of the leg. We've got a lot of work on the back side and on the outside. Try to balance it out. Your breath can naturally slow down. Feel free to withdraw away from your sensory organ. Maybe away from the outer Om and listening for the inner Om. rustling sound, just to remind you to follow the in and out flow of your breath. Lean back, swap sides. Each side is different, so you may want to begin closer up. That's here. Maybe slide it out. Maybe more. But nothing extreme. Purposely trying to slow things down enough so that you're moving into that space between your thoughts towards that hidden chamber in your heart. I think our little saying that Jim created when you put your shoes away says, dwell in the cave of the heart. The similar expression. Nice inhalation. Let's slowly start to lift the head. We're gonna use this bolster behind us or sideways across the mat. The blocks can be to the side. Now this is where I want you to have a blanket available if you need it. So the way you took it off the stack, if you fold it short ways in half, this is most ideal in case you need it. Okay, I'll show you really quick. The meditation we're going to be doing is between these 3 points, third eye, the cuneus of the brain back here, the heart. So we're going to create a pyramid shape. So I thought we could do a restorative fish so that the peak could be at the top. So where you're resting the back of your head, let me show you something really quick. Where you're resting the back of the head, and then here would be the base, and then here would be the pinnacle. If your low back is like, ugh, not happy, this is where the blanket comes in. You sit. If it's the opposite for you, maybe your low back is good, but your neck is not good, then you would take the blanket on this side so that your heart still has some elevation over the head. See how your body responds. Can hold it. There. Now try. Yeah. Now think of your neck, actually. Okay. Yeah, you're going. Anybody else need some help? Yes? That's right. Yeah, that's good. That's it. I feel like you need one for your head. Is your neck okay? Yeah. You want one? Just test it. Sure, why not? Go ahead and settle down into your heart first. Breathe into your heart space. Breathe into your heart space that houses the higher self. Holds one of those hidden corridors or chambers filled with treasure. And imagine you're taking that breath now from the heart up into your third eye, frontal lobe of the brain. Place that gives us social connectedness. We sense how we're interwoven, everyone. Intuitive center. You feel that weight where your head's at rest. We're going to focus on breathing up into this area called the cuneus, which
which is responsible for visual processing, which helps to ignite empathy and telepathy. So the kunia is here with the telepathy would be concerning the mind, the prefrontal lobe, the body, heart, spirit. Let these 3 points connect like a pyramid. Turning form to light and light to form. Opening these doorways towards our higher purpose and plan. Take 3, 4. It could be subtle or grand, natural or controlled. For those final 3 breaths. I would suggest exiting the best way that you know. So maybe bending the knees and just rolling away to your favorite side. We're actually going to prop ourselves up on the bolster for a final meditation. More of a visual. So instead of sitting right on top, you're kind of sliding to the edge. I just want you to notice your broad lap, let your hands rest somewhere here. Even feel the slopes of the arms coming down to the legs. And we're going to slightly dip the chin so that the peak of the crown can lift up a little higher, the place where a beanie would sit upon a rabbi. Now you can picture this imagery without bringing in the other spiritual element that I'm going to mention. You don't have to be religious to call this in. So in the last couple of years, I've learned about an angel that I'd never heard of called Metatron, considered the angel of light. And evidently this angel is mentioned with Kabbalah, which is the Jewish mysticism. And the Essenes were a group of these mystic Jews that lived by the Dead Sea. And this is where John the Baptist came from. So it relates back to Christ's energy. Again, you don't have to be religious for this. If you are of spiritual nature and you believe in angels, you can call upon Metatron to assist. Otherwise, you're just going to picture your body like a pyramid prism of light. And I would suggest golden rays of light. It's like the golden color of sand that you might find around the pyramids. Now, if you call in Metatron, you can ask him to do this for you. Building a pyramid structure surrounding the structure of your body as a light shield of protection. It's a way to provide comfort, or even as nourishment. You can imagine these rays of light coming through diagonally, horizontally, vertically, around you, but it's through you as well. You can even imagine this sacred pyramid between the three places that we established, between the heart, the brow, cuneus. You can even imagine it being drawn from one eyebrow to the other, at the peak moving up towards the hairline. Now that you've created this golden light of pyramid through you and around you, I even want you to picture your home in your mind's eye and create this pyramid structure around your home. Again, as a shield of protection to invite in spiritual light, to send out any negative energy, break down any falsehoods, and to provide some soothing nourishment to all who enter your home. Final piece, I want you to imagine your vehicle that drove you here. Imagine your vehicle has this prism being erected around it for a shield of protection, to send out any negative energy, for soothing nourishment, those who enter your car. Invite your hands to prayer position at your heart. Invite your thumbs to come to that hidden pyramid or triangle at your brow. The light within me honors and respectfully bows the beautiful and radiant light within each of you. Namaste.